So we need to talk a little bit about AI usage in your AP Stats course because it's everywhere. I know that you know it better than I do, although I'm learning to use it to do things in my life that sometimes do make my life easier and better. I'm going to use some examples as I go through here. But is it really going to make your life easier and better when your goal is a high AP score and you have to take the AP exam without it, right? So it's one thing to say, like, I don't speak Hungarian particularly well, and the more assistance I get, the less I'm actually able to learn to speak Hungarian because I rely on it a lot. But it does make my life easier and better because I can't speak Hungarian well, and I feel even if I try, I'm never going to speak it enough to be able to communicate more than, how to order in a restaurant or some basic needs because I'm old and my brain's not that flexible anymore. But you're young and your brain is super flexible. And so we should kind of answer this question, is it going to make my life easier and better? And what kind of are my teacher's expectations? So let's kind of go through this. First, what's the College Board say? So the College Board is saying that you can use AI tools as optional aids for exploration of potential topics of inquiry, initial searches for sources of information, confirming their understanding of a complex text, or checking their writing, but not rewriting for grammar and tone. So they don't want you to rewrite anything with an AI. However, students must read primary and secondary sources directly, perform their own analysis and synthesis of evidence, and make their own choices on how to communicate effectively both in writing and presentations. Students may not use AI tools to write or create their assignments for them. It remains a student's responsibility to engage deeply with a credible, valid source and integrate diverse perspectives when working on the performance tasks. Students must complete interim checkpoints with their teachers to demonstrate genuine engagement with the task. So part of this is my job to make sure you're breaking stuff up, but a lot of it is your choice because I'm not with you when you learn. This is quite different than being in a classroom because I'm always far away from you and I'm never able to watch you while you engage with the material. So a lot of this comes to you making the decision, hey, I'm not going to have this on the AP exam, so I'm not going to choose to use it through the year. And why? Why is this so important? Because we have to use our brains, right? Like for us to build memories, we have to do things. And I put this, we have to do hard things. Everything can't be easy. And that's the problem, is that when any math problem that you're working on, instead of you struggling and thinking a little bit and trying something and messing it up and trying again and saying, does this make sense? Right? The hard parts, right? That is the, hunting of the animal, right? You don't have to do the hard parts. You don't have to lift the weights. If you just go right away, oh, I don't understand. Here, tell me, right? So you got to make things be hard a little bit for you to form memories, all right? And we know this with anything with our muscles, right? So here's this guy. He wants to be strong. He's watching the AI do all sorts of workouts. He's drinking his protein shake. He's not getting stronger. And we know this. And this is the fun part of AI, right? This was generated using AI. It can be a lot of fun, right? But it doesn't mean it has to be what I use to do my statistics work. And, oh, sorry, I want to go back. I can't flip away an image here, obviously. But underneath of this is that we have to practice, right? We know this, whether it's soccer or music, right? Or statistics. We have to do the work ourselves. Something else can't be doing it for us. All right. And one more little point to this is that when scientists, this is obviously a spoof on having rats do mazes or mice do mazes, but when they do mazes, if they complete a relatively easy maze and then they're away from the maze for a little while, they don't actually remember how to solve it. There's no purpose for them to remember because they can just use their current problem solving to get them through the maze quickly. But when they go through mazes that are more complicated and require more mental effort, then they actually remember them. So again, when I'm solving problems that require me to think, I'm going to remember it. When I'm solving problems where I'm getting answers fast and something is helping me every time it's a little bit tricky, I'm not actually forming memories from it. All right. And I've noticed this a lot in my classes. I've been teaching online since 2015, and I used to get a lot of messing up. Practice tests, quizzes, lessons. Students would say, hey, I can't do this, right? They supposedly failed, right? The first attempt in learning didn't go well. They made a mistake. They fell off their bike, right? They asked for help. And now I see almost perfects all the time. Perfects on progress checks, perfects on unit assessments. Nobody makes any mistakes anymore. Because as soon as they don't know how to do something, they look up how to do it. And I can't necessarily stop you. If it becomes so obvious that, like, I can see when you talk about something you don't know about it, or I have my doubts that you're doing your own work, then I'll ask that you be monitored at school, right? If you can't let yourself make a mistake because you're just that perfectionist personality, then have somebody watch you when you do your work, right? So that you're trying and sometimes you're messing up, and that's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we form memories. And really, ask me. I am here to help you. I get so few questions. I used to answer questions all the time, and now most of the time the questions are not sent to me. And it's really important, right? Why can an AI sound so sure and still be wrong? You have to understand that these things are programmed to give you the right, to not give you the right answer, to give you the answer they come up with and believe it's right. So I'll give you a very concrete example. I had a student last year they had to make presentations on problems, and then they had to write a question. And this girl was doing the presentation, and she put up her problem, and everybody starts trying to solve it, and nobody can solve it because it's not solvable, right? But the AI didn't say, oh, maybe this isn't solvable. Like, it doesn't necessarily know. And when you're learning something, one of the issues of beginning learners is they often think they know the most, right? So this is called the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? When I start learning something, I think I know it. And then as I start to learn more, I realize that I know very little. And even an expert doesn't have the level of confidence that a beginner does. So when you're asking the AI, you don't necessarily know what the right answer is. The AI is going to automatically assume it knows the right answer. It's not going to question itself. And so you have two novices, right? And the AI, it's amazing at finding things, right? It can search things so much more effectively than we can. But on lots of things, it just won't say, was I right? It doesn't have that programmed into it, that ability to do it. All right. Now, you can obviously tell that my preference is that you come to me when you need help, that you let yourself make mistakes, right? And you kind of stay as far away from the AIs as you can. But I'm a very practical person, and I know that's probably not going to happen all of the time. So if you are going to interact with an AI, you got to ask the right questions. All right. And these are some principles to help you with this. Show your current understanding first, right? I think the answer involves blah, 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 but I'm not sure how to set up the equation. You can show what you have so far, right? This forces you to recall and organize your own thoughts and lets the AI give you feedback. Now, like I said, there's no guarantee that it's going to do it correctly, and it's not going to know when it doesn't. Right? But you can at least look at it and say, does this make sense? You can even send it to me. Ask the AI for guidance or hints, not solutions. Can you give me a hint? Right? Try to have it get you started. That's the same idea down here on the step by step, right? Ask it to break things into smaller steps. Focus on understanding rather than memorizing, right? Why does this formula work? How do I know when to use this method instead of that one? Can you explain concepts like I'm learning for the first time? When I do work on my Hungarian, which is in the winter time, I think I usually get like 130 or 140 days in a row of practice. I often don't understand the grammar rules, and I can say, why is this word used in this situation and this one used in this? Hungarians have a whole bunch of words for the word but, right? If you're joining a sentence together in that way. And it's great at explaining why, right? And then I understand things better. So if you're focused on understanding why something works, right? You can ask me. If I'm sleeping and you don't want to wait, then make sure you're looking for understanding and not just finishing. All right, and then ask feedback. Again, I hesitate with this because it won't necessarily know if it's right or wrong, but you can compare what you're doing to what the model solution would be. All right, and I have had fairly good success, not always, but if you ask for similar practice problems, if you're working on something and you want it to give you more problems, it generally can find other problems fairly quickly. All right, so these are ways that if you're going to interact with an AI, make sure you're doing it for understanding and learning. All right, now here's where I really don't want you using it at all. On your quizzes, on your progress checks, on your unit assessments, on your case studies, anything that I'm using to assess whether you've mastered it, please just show me your work. Do it 100% like you would take an assessment with a College Board. You won't have this, so don't practice that you do have it. All right, please, if you need somebody to sit with you while you take tests, have your parents sit with you, have a teacher sit with you. It's okay to make mistakes. All right, on an assessment, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do when you mess something up is explain your mistake to me. Right? I'm not going to necessarily make you redo everything. I just want to see that you're doing well and that you'll be prepared for the AP exam. All right, and this is kind of where, if you see me not as the person trying to catch you do something wrong, I know my children have this view of their teachers. They view their teachers as the one giving the grades. They don't necessarily view them as the person who's there to help them. And if they could, when they discuss others cheating on a test, they think they got away with something. Like, I did this and the teacher didn't catch me, and ooh, look at me, right? Except that you're paying, or your parents business is paying a lot of money for your education, and so you're not really getting away with anything, right? I'm not actively trying. It's impossible for me to know when students are doing all of their work and they're on the honor system, right? Unless it becomes so seriously copying word for word things, then I probably won't know. And if you think of me as your mentor, right, I'm giving you direction. I'm offering you training and practice. I'm here to support you, right, when you don't feel like you can do it. Same thing. I'm here to keep you going. I'm here to help you focus on your goals so that you can be successful. I'm here to mentor you more than I'm really here to be a teacher. I mean, I am. I'm showing you the content, right, of how to do it, but this isn't like a me versus you situation. This is an us, right? I'm helping you to be successful. It's your work, and I'm here to do all of these things. All right, and last, this is the hardest thing in life, and so I understand that if I was in your shoes as a student and I had to constantly do the thing that was harder for me, that's difficult, but it's always part of life. Like, this is my kind of motto on Choose Your Hard. Anybody who really knows me knows that I'm up at 4:30. I choose to get up. It's hard, right? But I feel better when I get things done, right? So regret is hard. Discipline is hard, right? Choose your hard. Pleasing everyone is hard. Pursuing what you love is hard. Choose your hard. Indecision is hard. Trusting yourself is hard. Choose your hard. Suffering is hard. Asking for help is hard. Choose your hard. Dealing with illness is hard. Adopting a healthy lifestyle is hard. Choose your hard. And I added this one for you, right? Doing math problems on your own is hard. Feeling lost later in a math class is hard. Choose your hard, right? Do the work. It's hard to make that choice. It is easier to go ask an AI to give you solutions, right? I have the grade I want. Ooh, that could seem easy and better, but that's just delaying the hard, because the hard will be the AP exam and it'll come. And the question is, are you ready to deal with that hard, right? Have you formed the memories? Have you learned to be persistent when things are difficult, right? So that's my spiel on using AI. I hope it helps you see what I expect from you in the class.